Have you ever stood in the middle of your own life and felt like a complete stranger? That's what it was like for me, staring at my wife Chloe's phone as it glowed on the nightstand at 2 a.m. A single message lit up the screen. A message that wasn't from me, was from a man she had saved under the name Work Dad, an inside joke I was clearly not a part of. The text read, "Tonight was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you." My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the dead silence of our Los Angeles bedroom. My wife, my Chloe, the woman I had built my world around for 10 years, was living a life I knew nothing about. I picked up the phone, my hand trembling so badly I almost dropped it. What I found next didn't just break my heart. It shattered the very foundation of my reality. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The name Work Dad belonged to Marcus Thorne. Marcus was more than just some random guy. He was my business partner. Or rather, my undercover business partner. To Chloe, he was just a successful real estate developer I was trying to land a massive contract with, a deal that would set us up for life. She thought I was just a mid-level architect trying to impress him. In reality, Marcus and I had been quietly building our firm from the ground up for 3 years, keeping our partnership a secret to gain a competitive edge. He was the face, I was the strategist. And now it seemed he was the man sleeping with my wife. The next few weeks were a descent into a special kind of hell. Chloe became a ghost in our home on the Venice canals. She was distant, her laughter forced, her touches fleeting and cold. She started working late, client dinners that stretched into the early morning hours. Once she came home smelling of expensive cologne I didn't own, and the faint scent of whiskey from a bar I knew she hated. When I asked, she'd roll her eyes. "It's for work, honey. You know how important this deal is for us?" The U.S. felt like a knife twisting in my gut. She was using my own ambition, my own dream for our future, as the perfect cover for her betrayal. The mask she wore was flawless. To our friends, we were still the golden couple. At a dinner party in a swanky restaurant in Beverly Hills, I watched her hang on Marcus's every word, her hand resting on his arm just a second too long. Marcus, smug and confident, would catch my eye from across the table and give me a subtle nod, a gesture I once thought meant we're killing it, but now felt like a taunt. They thought they were untouchable, to master manipulators playing a game where I was the only pawn who didn't know the rules. The humiliation was a physical thing, a constant weight in my chest that made it hard to breathe. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday. I found a receipt for the Chateau Marmont in her glove compartment. Dated for a night she was supposedly at a conference in Santa Monica. It was for a suite, 2 nights. Room service charges for champagne and oysters. I drove to a parking garage overlooking the downtown skyline, the city lights blurring through my tears. I sat there for hours, the engine off, just a shell of a man hollowed out by grief and rage. The love of my life saw me as a fool. The man I trusted as a partner saw me as an obstacle. That night, something inside me broke. And in its place, something cold and sharp began to grow. The breakdown was over. It was time to build. My grief turned into fuel. My apartment, once a sanctuary of our love, became my war room. I wasn't just going to expose them. I was going to dismantle their lives with the same meticulous precision I used to design buildings. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who specialized in high-stakes infidelity cases. He wired our home for audio and placed a GPS tracker on Chloe's car. The evidence started pouring in recordings of their secret phone calls filled with whispered promises and cruel jokes at my expense. Photos of them kissing in the parking lot of a diner on Sunset Boulevard. Hotel check-ins, every piece of proof, was another brick in the wall of their downfall. Legally, I was just as methodical. Our partnership agreement had a strict morality clause Marcus had insisted on, ironically to protect the company's image. Any act that brought disrepute to the firm was grounds for immediate and financially ruinous termination. I met with my lawyer, a shark from a top firm on Century Park East, and we prepared a case that was airtight. Socially, the trap was even more intricate. Our firm was about to host its annual gala, a massive event for investors and industry titans at a ballroom in the Intercontinental downtown. It was the biggest night of our professional year. Marcus was set to receive a Visionary of the Year award, Chloe, of course, would be there on his arm, not as his lover, but as the supportive wife of his up-and-coming protege. The stage was set. The night of the gala, the air buzzed with energy and ambition. Chloe looked stunning in a backless silver dress, a vision of elegance and deceit. She held my hand as we walked in, whispering, "Aren't you proud? We're so close to everything we've ever wanted." I just smiled, a cold, empty smile that didn't reach my eyes. Marcus was on stage, basking in the applause, the award in his hand. He began his speech, thanking his team, his investors, and then he paused for a dramatic effect. "And I want to give a special thank you to the brilliant mind who has been my secret weapon," he said, looking right at me. The crowd murmured, intrigued. This was my cue. But before I could move, the massive screens on either side of the stage, which were supposed to be showing a highlight reel of our company's projects, flickered to life. The first image was a higher-resolution photo of Chloe and Marcus, locked in a passionate kiss outside the Chateau Marmont. A collective gasp rippled through the ballroom. Then came another photo, and another. Audio began to play over the speaker system, their recorded phone calls. Chloe's voice clear as a bell, mocking me. "He's so gullible. He actually thinks this deal is for him." Marcus's voice followed, laughing. "Don't worry, babe. Once the contracts are signed, he's out. You and I will be on a beach in Bali." The room was dead silent. I watched Chloe's face drain of all color, her expression shifting from confusion to sheer unadulterated terror. Marcus stood frozen on stage, his award slipping from his sweaty grasp and clattering to the floor. All eyes were on them. I walked calmly to the stage, took the microphone from the podium, and looked out at the sea of shocked faces. "It seems my business partner and my wife have been engaged in a partnership of their own," I said, my voice steady and clear. "Our firm was built on trust and integrity. As of this moment, Mr. Thorne's partnership is terminated, effective immediately, per the morality clause he himself drafted." Security guards were already moving toward the stage. Chloe tried to run, but she was surrounded by a wall of whispers and accusing stares. Her social world had evaporated in an instant. My last sight of her was as she was escorted out of the ballroom, her beautiful dress now looking like a costume for a tragic play. She was weeping, not from remorse, but from the humiliation of being so publicly dethroned. The fallout was swift and brutal. Marcus lost everything: the company, his reputation, his money. Chloe was left with nothing but the shame and a divorce filing that left her with exactly what she brought into the marriage: a collection of designer clothes and a mountain of debt. I sold our Venice home and moved into a minimalist penthouse downtown, overlooking the city that had been the backdrop for my destruction and my rebirth. I never saw either of them again. Sometimes, late at night, I stand by the window, looking at the endless grid of city lights, and I feel nothing. Not joy, not sadness, not even anger. Just the quiet, chilling hum of victory. The end.